Mr. Aleša Cantaruttija, the member of the Planica Strategic Council, to share with us an overview of sustainable solutions from the standpoint of Slovenian business environment.
Thank you very much. Good morning, welcome to everyone. Allow me to make this presentation, couple of sentences in Slovene language, and then I will make a sum up in English also for the esteemed foreign guests. Mislim, da je ta trenutek odličen, pravšnji trenutek za zeleno tranzicijo tudi Planice oziroma doline Tamar. Tukaj je, tako kot je kolega Franci Petek omenil, ljudje in na drugi strani predvsem energetika, se pravi tisto, kar lahko naredimo, da proizvedemo energijo, ki je vselej potrebna tudi v takšnih dolinah, zato da se odvija šport, zato da smo srečni, zadovoljni, bolj zeleno, okolju prijaznejšo. Tukaj imamo več variant. Najprej je seveda to, da nam tudi zdaj prav prejšnji teden sprejet zakon na vladi omogoča postavljanje zelenih oziroma sončnih elektrarn tudi na takšnem področju, postavljanje seveda vetrnih elektrarn. To je vse zlito z okoljem, to je vse ekološko prijazno in zato pade lahko tudi v takšno okolje. Ampak, ker je seveda sonca omejeno, še posebej po zimi v tej dolini, ker tudi vetra, hvala Bogu za skakalce, ni prav veliko, je potrebno takrat, ko imamo to energijo shraniti. In tukaj potem nastopijo vodikove tehnologije. Slovenija je pred kratkim oziroma vlada podprla tako imenovano vodikovo dolino skupaj z Hrvaško in pa Furlanijo Julijsko krajino v Italiji, torej čezmejni projekt za razvoj vodikovih tehnologij od začetka do shranjenja in potem seveda uporabe tega vodika. Vodik je primeren tako za transport, ki je potem absolutno okoljsko CO2 nevtralen, zelen, kot tudi seveda za proizvodnjo električne energije, za recimo vzdrževanje pokritega smučišča oziroma tekaške steze tudi čez poletje v Planici, samo kot primer. Ali pa za izdelavo snega, hvala Bogu, ga letos res imamo dovolj, ko ga ni. Da bi takšen projekt zaživel, je pomembno sobivanje oziroma skupno delovanje nekaj pomembnih ključnih partnerjev. In začel bom seveda z lokalno skupnostjo. Ta mora razumeti in čutiti seveda željo in potrebo po tem, ker brez lokalne skupnosti takšen projekt ni mogoče izpeljati. Tukaj je seveda resorno ministrstvo ali več ministrstev, torej zaveza, komitment vlade mora biti zelo jasno izražen. Nenazadnje so za to potrebna tudi kar precejšnja finančna sredstva. In konec koncev tukaj je, bom rekel, center Planica in vsi ostali, ki so tako ali drugače vključeni v to športno, turistično dogajanje, zato da seveda ta projekt steče. Pomembna je tudi elektrodistribucija, ker je potrebno marsikaj postoriti na energetskih povezavah, se pravi omrežju, zato da lahko potem takšna transformacija v zeleno tudi zaživi. Tako da z tega vidika je pomembno, da so na koncu zadovoljni, da imajo od tega vsi deležniki. Prebivalci, spet bom začel z prebivalci, ki bodo imeli boljše omrežje, možnost, bom rekel, tudi uporabe zelene energije, seveda Zavod Planica oziroma center, ki bo imel možnost do cenejše in predvsem okolju prijaznejše energije in pa nenazadnje tudi seveda država, ki bo lahko takšen projekt, ki mu rečemo recimo Dolina Tamar Green Transition, prodajala in izvažala tudi preko meja. Takšnih alpskih dolin imamo seveda kar nekaj, tudi v naši širši soseščini in prav je, da takšno znanje, ki ga pridobimo, seveda tudi, bomo rekli, izvozimo in dobimo na ta način tudi neke dobre reference. Namreč, zdaj pa to tisto ključno, zakaj bi se šli tak projekt, zato da pokažemo, da lahko slovensko znanje, slovenska podjetja izvedejo to zeleno tradicijo, zeleni prehod. Natančno smo tudi v okviru te skupine pregledali, kaj Slovenija premore na tem področju, govorim industrija, razvojne inštitucije, vsi tisti, ki se ukvarjajo z zeleno transformacijo in tega imamo precej, rekel bom dovolj, zato bi si res zaželel, da ta projekt postane nacionalni projekt, da ga vlada uvrsti med ključne projekte, zato da res čez nekaj let lahko rečemo, da imamo res zeleno dolino Tamar, tudi v tem energetskem pogledu. To sum up in English language for the foreign guest, what I was presenting is the idea that Planica Valley should grab now this opportunity to make a green transition. This is the right, perfect time to produce the electricity via the solar power systems, the wind potential systems, but one of the crucial elements is, of course, hydrogen technologies, which are coming on the big doors, let's say. Slovenian government just approved 25 million worth of projects for the hydrogen technologies, together with Croatia and Italy. And I think the opportunity here is, I already discussed with the guys who are in charge in this project, that we put this Planica, this Tamar Valley, also inside of this huge project as a case, as a pilot project. So this is an opportunity, because on the end of the day, it's important that we show that Slovenian knowledge, Slovenian companies, Slovenian technologies can produce the solutions for make this valley greener and environment even more friendlier when we talk about the electricity production. And the bottom line is, let's export this knowledge, the solutions also to other Alpine and other valleys in our neighborhood, which are, of course, a lot. So this is the idea. Hopefully the government will recognize this idea, confirm it, and that in the near future we will say Planica is not only environmentally green, I mean a lot of forests and beautiful, but also green when we talk about sustainability and, of course, especially in this regards, electricity production. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I think that these ideas are the ones to be supported to leave this valley for the generations to come as it is, because this is why we are here for today. So I wish you a pleasant day. I will now invite Mr. Jonas to the stage. Sorry. I would like to invite you to the stage, and I wish you a pleasant day, and please don't forget to press the green button and support Green Planica 2022.
Thank you very much for this introduction. I warmly welcome everybody again here today at this expert summit on sustainable events at the backdrop of Planica 2023. Today's event is co-organized by Umanotere as part of the Life IP Care for Climate project and FIS Nordic World Ski Championship Planica 2023, who also provided us with this very special venue. My name is Nika Taucher. I come from Umanotere, and I'll be moderating the first part of today's event. I'm very happy to welcome our invited speakers. I do not see everybody yet. Who will present different aspects of sustainability when organizing events. After every presentation, there will be a bit of time for your questions. However, you're of course invited to reach out to our speakers during the break or later in the day. Short break will take place at 10:45 and lunch will be served at 1:30. So now, let us finally start with talking about the topic that brought us here today. Sustainable events and the importance of organizing events in such a manner in the light of looming climate crisis. Umanotere has been working in this field from 2012 on, and my colleagues like to point out that a lot has changed since then, especially when we come to people's expectations. Today, people expect that sustainability will be taken seriously when organizing an event, especially sports event. Athletes expect that, sponsors do, because it is, after all, the demand of time we live in. Firstly, to address the questions on what sustainable events even are, and on why organizing events in such a manner needs to become a norm for all to follow, here with us are Manca Jurca and Ismael Leitmannstetter from Climate Partner, who are devoted to helping their customers calculate and reduce carbon emissions and offset those that cannot be avoided. The floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for coming to this event today. It's really nice to see that sustainability is so omnipresent nowadays when it comes to products, when it comes to companies, organizations, or when it comes to events. I hope this works. Can you maybe start the presentation? Before this, maybe I can tell you a little bit more about us. So who's talking to you today before we start with the presentation? There you go. My name is Manca Jurca. All the Slovenians here know that this is a very Slovenian name. I come from Slovenia, but I've been living in Vienna or around Vienna for the past 8 years. I actually work for an Austrian company, Climate Partner Austria. And today I brought with me also my colleague, Ismael Leitmannstetter, who is a really important player also in this event today, because he is actually helping to calculate the carbon footprint of this championships. So we are really happy to be here today and to talk about sustainable sports events, what they are and why we need them. So first of all, I just wanted to tell you shortly a little bit about Climate Partner before I go to the main topic of the sustainable sports events. I just wanted to tell you a little story about us, because I think it's a really nice story that shows how much every single one of us can have a greater impact on sustainable future. So we started in 2006 in Munich in Germany. Our founder, Moritz Lehmkuhl, actually borrowed a couple of €1,000 from his parents and established his own company. He started annoying little print shops around Munich, asking them if their paper is sustainable and if they want to measure the carbon footprint of their paper. And the company was doing okay-ish, and by 2018 we had 40 employees, which is great. And then 2018 happened, and then Greta Thunberg happened, and Fridays for Future happened, and it was the children who went on the streets and they started demanding not only from their governments but also from the companies to make a change for their better future. 2019, the Paris Agreement also came into place, and today we stand and we are a couple of hundreds of employees in 13 offices worldwide, because suddenly our phones started burning up with companies calling us and asking us what they can do. But we only can thank actually the children who went on the streets and said, what are you doing about our future? So like Nika already said, what we mainly do is we measure carbon footprints, we set reduction targets with the companies, we help companies reduce the carbon footprints, and the emissions that we cannot reduce compensate. I will come back to that later in our 5-step strategy. And now you're all here for sustainable sports events, so let's just go into it. And of course, I need to start with this horrible graph. It's not a nice one. I hope one day I can stop presenting it in such a manner, but it's really important to know why we're here. Not only to talk about, not only, if I can say it like that, to press a button and tomorrow forget about everything we were talking about today, but the situation, unfortunately, is really dire. So in 7 years, we will have so much CO2 in our global atmosphere that we won't be able to limit the global warming to 1.5 degrees anymore. So maybe today some of you are thinking, okay, 1.5 doesn't sound so bad. I mean, which one of us knows if it's 1 degree outside today or 2.5, right? Well, on a global level, that makes a huge, huge impact. My usual example I go to is at 1.5 degrees global warming, 50% of coral reefs die. So anyone who's ever seen a coral reef is going to be really sad. Anyone who works in biology is going to be very upset, because these are incredibly important biodiversity areas. At 2 degrees, so just 0.5 degree change, 99% of these coral reefs will die. pretty much they're all going to be gone. We already know, maybe an example more relevant for this event today, that for pretty much all of our glaciers worldwide, it's too late. So Austria has already said goodbye to all of our glaciers because they're not going to be around till the end of the century. At 1.5 degrees, we reach that tipping point. We might reach the tipping point where the permafrost melts and releases enormous amounts of CO2, gigatons and upon gigatons of CO2 back in the atmosphere, which is going to accelerate the global warming. So like I said, I don't like showing this graph because I don't think we should now scream and hold our heads and not know what to do, but it's important to communicate the truth or where we stand nowadays. So on the blue line, so the green line is where we need to go to reach the 1.5 degrees goal. The blue line on top, unfortunately, is the one we are moving towards right now. So if we don't make any changes, but if we keep implementing the same policies that are in place now, we will reach between 2.5 and 2.9 degrees until the end of the century. So really catastrophic consequences. So where do we stand right now? Often I talk to people and they said, well, there's nothing I can do. I mean, look at China, look at India. What can I do? We're not that bad here in Europe, are we? Well, yes, we are. So actually, the European average is that we emit 11.6 tons of CO2 per person every year. To reach the goal, the target of 1.5 degrees, we actually need to reduce that to 1 ton. So it's a huge change, huge difference between where we should be, between the resources that the planet offers us, and between what us as Europeans actually use every year. So a massive change in our lifestyle is needed. So for that, to reach the target, of course, we as individuals need to make a change in our daily lives, but we need to demand also from companies and our governments to implement the changes to make a meaningful impact. So at Climate Partner Austria, we mainly work with companies because we do believe that the companies are, in the end, the main drivers of change. They listen to, but they also influence their clients, and they also can influence the governments. Like we see today in this event, this is actually a beautiful event connecting individuals, companies, and the governmental institutions. So these are the 5 steps that Climate Partner has developed that every single company can take. And they're very simple. There's just 5 of them. You can remember them. You're not going to forget them. And it's always, the first step is always to measure the carbon footprints. So if we don't know how many emissions we emit, then we don't know what our goal is. Then we don't know where our hotspots are. We don't know where the problem lies. So I'm really proud to say that the organizers of Planica 2023 are making this step, and we are measuring the carbon footprint of this event, of the mobility, of all the catering, of the gastronomy, of the hotel stays, of accommodations, of the electricity used, of the heating used. Once we have done that, we can set our reduction targets. So there's different ways of doing that. There's top-down, there's bottom-up approaches. So for instance, we can say we are going to limit 4% of our emissions year per year. Or we first do a carbon footprint and then we see what we can do. So there's different approaches to that. This is a longer topic. If anyone wants to talk with us about it later, please come to us, we're happy to discuss it. And then, of course, the most important thing, we implement reductions. With events, this means already before the event, during the event, and after the event. But, as you saw, we don't have much time left. And as we know, we simply cannot make these huge reductions overnight. We always say climate action is a marathon, it's not a sprint. So in the 4th step, what we can do is that we compensate the emissions that we couldn't avoid before with financing certified climate projects worldwide. And then the 5th point, and this is a really important point for this event today, it's to communicate transparently. So transparency for me is one of the most important words when it comes to sustainability. We don't want greenwashing. We want the companies and events to tell us exactly how many emissions they are emitting, and also what their concrete plan is to reduce the emissions. Also with the communication, we inspire other people, other companies to do their part in climate action. So now, after this probably way too long introductions, I'm going to go to the power of sustainable sports events. So Ismael and I, we're both experts in events, and I think that's the best department at Climate Partner, obviously. I come from actually the event industry. Ismael also has a background in it, but that's not the only reason why we love working with events. We think events simply have the best and greatest impact of the whole community. So this is the power of sustainable events. Sustainable events have a big impact. It can be a negative impact on the environment, but it can be also a broader positive impact, not only concretely on the environment, but also in inspiring other stakeholders. So these are a couple of stakeholders that are involved in pretty much every event, right? So we have organizers, we have the event location and the local community. We have different partners we work with, attendees, we have local businesses, governmental entities, we have visitors and viewers. So just look at this list. Look at everyone who we can motivate to do their part in their own businesses or in their own private lives with just one event. So we thought a little bit about our previous experiences, and we made a little list about what you can do as any of the stakeholders. So of course, extremely important is the organizers, obviously. The organizers should implement sustainability in every aspect of the event already pre-event, and they have an important coordination role because they actually choose and involve other entities. So the organizers always have the power of choice, of choosing the more sustainable partners against some other partners that maybe don't work in sustainable ways. If we start doing that, then trust me, suddenly there's going to be a lot more done in sustainability to reach a good market value. And of course, also to communicate their climate action, like I said, transparently. The event location, we already heard about the importance of green energy. Agree 100%. Please switch to green energy. It's very simple. It's an effective measure. And the event location, of course, should use their resources efficiently and carefully. Then we have the partners. Wow, Planica works with so many partners when it comes to mobility, all the shuttles that you maybe saw, but also broader mobility partners. I used nutrition, but with that I actually mean gastronomy. So today I think we have Lesjak Catering. He's one of the partners. And of course housing, all the accommodations here in Kranjska Gora, all the hotels that people are staying in. So if the organizers implement a sustainability event pre-event, then the partners should follow this plan and implement it. And hopefully with that, we will influence them. Once they already know so much about sustainability, why not use it with other events? Why not use it in your everyday business? Local businesses, so important. If the local businesses understand the market value of a regional, climate-friendly supply chain, then they're going to implement sustainability also outside of this sport event, because suddenly they're going to understand that this is actually what businesses want, this is what the people want, and we're going to come later also to some really good business models of how to support local businesses on their sustainability journey. Governmental entities, I don't need to tell you how important it is that we have government on board when implementing sustainability also. But also the government should clearly understand the marketing advantage of a sustainable destination. Green Slovenia, right? We have had the green capital for a while, but are we going beyond that? Are we just saying we are green because we have a lot of forests? Or should we start also communicate transparently what makes us green? I will now, I talk always way too long, I'm so sorry. Visitors and viewers can also get edutained, and they are actually encouraged to come here with the public transport, because mobility usually makes around 60% of all the carbon emissions in every event. So this is an example, not 60%, but mobility usually makes the biggest part of carbon emissions. So I'm going to switch now to Ismael, and Ismael is going to give you some concrete tips of how you should do an event mitigation hierarchy.
Thank you so much, Manca. Also, once again, from my side, thank you very much for having us and sharing some experiences and recommendations that we've gathered throughout the past events we were able to quantify and to go with through. As Manca already mentioned, the key measures and the key fields of actions can be categorized in what is our golden rule or the gold standard in the first place. If there are emissions that can be avoided in the first place, that's the go-to approach. So get in touch with your partners, with the stakeholders, with everyone involved in setting up in the run-up phase of the event, and try to identify fields where actual emissions can be avoided. So we understand this climate mitigation hierarchy as a way of a process that should be taken beforehand and identify areas where we can first avoid them. If we cannot avoid them, what of these fields of actions could be potential fields of reduction? So starting from energy efficiency or the usage of more efficient alternatives when it comes to energy provision, for example. Well, what cannot be reduced could possibly be substituted. So with respect to the transportation of spectators and athletes, there could be a potential cooperation with public transport providers, with national railway services, but also the whole fleet management. So the technology that is being used with the fleet and the mobility aspect. Last not least, there will be remaining emissions that can neither be avoided, nor reduced, nor substituted. And according to the international understanding, those remaining emissions ought to be compensated with high quality climate protection projects. With that being said, let me share a quick example with you. One event that we were able to follow along with and quantify the event carbon footprint and go through that event phases from an early point and throughout the event, and also did the recalculation afterwards. So the European Championships, which took place in Munich last year, were a big event of comparable magnitude. We had many spectators, athletes, visitors coming from all over the world to Munich. A great thing was that we could already use existing infrastructure when it came to the venues, when it came to public transport, and the organizing committee and everyone involved in organizing that event was really committed to initiate a sustainability strategy that took into consideration a very concise waste management system, that took into consideration the opportunity for both the organizers and the visitors to make climate contribution in accordance to their personal impact and to their mobility. Also included in that was the integration of public transport in the ticketing. So once you gather the ticket, you also had the chance to use public transport in Munich for free, and that reduced the amount of car journeys and individual transport significantly. Last not least, we did the recalculation, and which was communicated in a very transparent way. So we did a pre-calculation, went through the process again, and worked with a high amount of primary data, saying we had a very good and realistic idea of the actual impact that the event in fact had. And this could be a blueprint to any other bigger sporting event, starting from a smaller sporting event, but you can scale up that, and according to our understanding, this should be the standards and should be mandatory, and it's crucial to be transparent and consistent in the way we communicate our climate actions and make things measurable. Let me lastly share one project with you that means a lot to me as someone who also grew up in the Alps and as a Transalpine pioneer. Our CEO or general manager and the organization of Vitalpine is supporting sustainability on a local level with local communities. And this again shows the strength and the potential of stakeholder involvement and of climate action on a local level, and to see how this can multiply the effects from climate action to small businesses, accommodations, and the local communities that benefit from alpine tourism, from events, and to see how we can all get those initiatives together and benefit from climate action as a sustainable business model which enables us so that also, especially the local communities can profit from that on the long run. And please don't hesitate, especially when it comes to that project, but also the quantification of event carbon footprints, to reach out to us throughout the event today. Feel free to get in touch with us and learn more about our projects, our 5 steps, and our approaches. And yeah, I would like to thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to the exchange, and thanks once again for having us. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Manca. Thank you, Ismael, for your presentations. Thank you for putting organization of events in the context of climate emergency, for really showing which are the areas where organizers, together with other stakeholders, have the biggest levers of power for sustainable transformation. As we're running short on time, we cannot address questions now, but you can find Manca and Ismael during the day. They're going to be around. So now we're moving on, starting with bold steps that are needed in times of climate and ecological crisis, placing special responsibility to large-scale events, not only to be green in their name, but to truly deliver in the area of sustainability. Few months before Planica 2023 took place, an attempt in this field was made with the organization of the European Women's Handball Championship 2022. Our next speaker is Mr. Gašper Pavli, Creative Director at Sport Media Focus, who will give us an insight into what organizers of this biggest international women's sports event in our country so far did, and especially, what were the lessons learned. Gašper, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Umanotere, to organize this. Thank you for inviting me. It's my pleasure to be part of that. And I will go straight to the point because we are late on the schedule. We started this journey. And okay, let me introduce myself. I'm a creative director in the sports marketing agency. So for the last 14 years, we've been working on, I've been involved in local organizing committees of bigger sport events in Slovenia, from basketball, volleyball, handball, futsal. And it's important to know the thinking, like I try to share you the thinking of someone in the sports industry, like an expert. And what I'm really passionate about sustainable lifestyle, and obviously I'm passionate about sport events, sports industry. And what I believe, and that was also the incentive after working so many years for the sports events, how to join this passion. And I believe that when tackling challenges that are not easy, the only way to do it is to marry this passion with the need. And we all know what the need is. It's obvious. It's been said already here, and it's been talked about in recent years quite a lot. So that's what that was our idea. And now this slide is, I think, the most important. You probably come from different backgrounds, but we all can share one thing. We can for sure agree for one thing. If you want to do something big, you need time. I mean, it's not, you cannot do a big project, let it be a sport event or anything, in 1 month, not even in half a year. I mean, 1.5 years, I think that's a minimum if you want to do something serious, because you know what happens when you start to convince people. Yeah, maybe, and then 1 month goes by, and 2 months goes by, and then the event is here. And then so many things remain unlocked. The potential is not. So this is a path of the previous big event that we took. 1.5 years nearly prior the event, we made a proposal to the organizer. Okay, why not doing it a sustainable sport event? And we think that, and that's where we came across Umanotere actually. So our first step was the handbook Čista zmaga from 2012, I think. And we said, okay, that's a great starting point, so let's take it from here. It's 9 years after this handbook. Let's take it out, let's make a plan, let's make a strategy, present it to organizer, because when you make a pledge, and we made the pledge publicly in January, which was still 9 months to the event, that's a big thing, that's a big responsibility. It's not easy to say we're going to make it a sustainable sport event. So it's good to have some time if you make this promise to make sure that you have time to realize that. And then today, it's March, it's not even February anymore. We are 1 week away to finalize the report. And I'm going to be really happy to share it with Umanotere, and then I hope they will share it with everyone, because this report is something that we are really proud of. Okay, let's go forward. The second point I want to point out is one of the, I mean, even if you come from sport, you cannot do everything alone. In business, you cannot do everything alone. The partnerships are really needed, and Manca already presented all the stakeholders that you can involve. You cannot do anything ourselves. You can have an idea, but you need to involve a lot of people. So this is the crazy slide. That's the only one. That it really has a lot of information. I know that you cannot read everything probably from the back, but I wanted to squeeze it all in one page. That's really a challenge to do. But the important thing is that we defined 12 areas with the negative impact of the event, not only on the environment but also on the society. So also the second part of sustainability development, and also the third part, financial. So we addressed all 3 areas of sustainable development, and inside these 12 areas that are green, yeah, I know it's small. We defined 40 goals. Okay, we want to achieve 40 goals, and if we wanted to achieve 40 goals, we needed to define 100 actions. We wrote them down, and we tried to write them down in a way that we will be able to measure them. And then coming back to partnership for goals. For each area, we involved a lot of different organizations, like 33 organizations and 72 people were working on this project. And that's what we called Green Team. We had a Green Team manager, but in reality, we involved 72 people and 33 organizations that were working all together, taking these 100 actions. So that was our plan in one side, on one slide. And unfortunately, I only have 15 minutes or even less, so I'm not able to talk about those 100 actions. I chose 2, one that I really liked and one that we didn't really manage to do. One that I really liked is this one, and I have a question now, if anyone knows what's on the left side. Ivo, you cannot answer because you know. What's on the left side? Anyone? It's Japonski dresnik, Japanese knotweed. That's a plant that they make paper. They can make paper out of it. Insufficient data for an image. What was that? That's not the whole slide. Maybe PDF. No? Back. Oh, that's such a shame. Yeah? Okay. It was a slide full of pictures, but there are only 2 here. So you have to imagine things now. Japanese knotweed was growing somewhere here, and waste management company, Voka Snaga, that's Slovenian, we all know, they make paper out of it. And then we send this paper to schools, 75 schools actually, and children from those schools, they were drawing handball-inspired pictures, like handball players shooting on a goal, defense, etc. And then these pictures were scanned, and we used them to communicate the event, like on outdoor advertising. And then these same children, they were collecting old T-shirts. Old T-shirts, the second part. They were collecting old T-shirts, put them in a bag, and we sent these T-shirts to the company Tekstina Ajdovščina. That's a company, they made, from these T-shirts, they made cotton, 200 meters of this cotton. And then those pictures that we were scanned from the paper, from the drawings, we sent them to the company, and they printed these handball-inspired images on this cotton, and we sent this cotton back to school and back to schools, and they made like pillows or something from cotton. So it's an example of circular economy projects that we did with 75 schools that I really liked, and it was, I think the feedback was really good. Okay, now I will jump. I have another one, yeah, but I will jump to the very plain number, very transparent, like Manca and Ismael presented. This event, we really we tried to, because it's not easy to collect all the data. A climate partner, they can use their methodology and to calculate the carbon footprint, but they need a lot of data to do that. And as an organizer, you have to collect this data, and it's not easy to collect this data. So we did really try hard to collect all the data transparently, like no secrets, all we did. And that's the negative impact we had on the environment. Okay, I will not go into details on this one, but this number is broken down then to different areas where this negative impact was done, and obviously huge one is the mobility of visitors. This is something you cannot avoid when visitors, especially from foreign countries, fly in. So I have to rush through. Sorry. That's the one that was only halfway made. You have a negative impact, and then I ran out of time already. Oh my God. Okay, briefly, we made sustainable bracelets from old handball jerseys and old handballs. But the whole idea was we need to sell them 9,000, and then the profit goes to carbon emissions offset activities. We didn't manage that to do it completely, but we tried, and we were halfway there. Yeah, those were the bracelets. Okay, I will skip that. What's okay? How much time do I have? A few more minutes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's something that Jonas asked me to talk about. Okay, about food. He said, I heard that you had some problems with sustainable catering at the event. Yeah, we did have. One of the actions, one of those 100 actions, it was action number 58. It was like that. We will make sure that the amount of meat is consumed 20% less than at similar events. And then out of 4,000 dishes and something, only 1,700 orders represented meat dishes. This was the first day. And now imagine, first day of the event, VIP area like this, people eat food, complains to the catering company. Catering company calls me, people are complaining that that the food is not good. I said, yeah, okay, we know that, we communicated, but that's how it is. Second day, these complaints go to organizer. It's getting a bit stressful. And the third day, the president of Handball Association calls me and say, I know what you're doing, but I'm getting calls that the food is terrible. And the fourth day of the championships, the catering company was forced to bring meat in, like the salami, prosciutto, and they were like, usual, back to usual stuff. Not really, completely back to usual, but I wanted to present that just old habits die hard. It's so hard. Then we were discussing why. Okay, maybe lack of communication when you invite people to the area to tell them. We had all the signs why we are doing this, but still some things just take time to change. Okay, the last thing, 1 minute. The most important action, the biggest lesson learned, it's not even lesson learned, is the report I mentioned. We measured everything. And we have a 120-page report that is very honest, very transparent. Some of the actions were complete fail, but a lot of them were great success, and some of them were somewhere in between. But that's what it matters, because I think that I absolutely agree with Manca that we need to be transparent, and this is going to help future organizers. We share this knowledge already with Planica. That was the first event, another events are following, and that's the only way we can do it, like step by step. We started the journey, and I think the most important next step is also to include all the stakeholders in the sports industry. So not only events, but then you have different stakeholders that Maša already presented, and to do it systematically on the national level, because all countries, the states, they invest in events, they give millions to the organizer that they can organize this event. So if it's an obligation, yeah, okay, you have the money here, but please make sure that you're going to spend this amount of money to make the event sustainable, because it takes time and money to make a sustainable event. It takes more money to make a sustainable event than not sustainable event. So I think that's the crucial thing needs to be done. Yeah, thank you. I'm available for any questions.
Gašper, thank you for your presentation. Same goes as before. We don't have time now, but Gašper is going to be around, so just ask him any questions you might have. As for our last speaker, I give the floor to Mr. Miha Lesjak, Sustainability Coordinator of Planica 2023, who will share with us approaches and measures which have been, which currently are, and which also will be taken in order to reduce negative and promote positive environmental and societal impacts of this biggest sports event in Slovenian history. Miha, the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you for the introduction. Hello, everybody. I'm super happy. My name is Miha Lesjak, and I'm super happy that I can see a lot of familiar faces in Planica today. Makes me really proud, because I know that my friends are also thinking about sustainability, and we can all do something better only together. So I think that's the first thing which is really important. A lot was said in the previous two speeches, and I will also try to give you an ideas what we are still doing here in Planica today. Not only today, but all this championship. And I think it's really ongoing process. So I'll try to sum up in my 10 minutes, those things which are happening. And the good thing is you're here and you can go around and you can aware yourself, if we are doing things right or not. So that's something what is ongoing. So maybe you can tell me later if there is something wrong. Okay, as Gašper said, and that was really important that we had a big event before of us, because before we did it, because the first thing we did, we came to the team of sustainability team or the green team, and we asked them, of course, let's do this together. Let's help us to make this event even more sustainable, that because we are all learning from the mistakes, and we can then improve it. So we started with something what we call Green Planica 23, and there was a lot of discussion. Should we be sustainable Planica, Planica sustainability, etc. But then we kind of said, we know we are winter sport and we are white, but still, people connect sustainability with green. That's why we choose the Green Planica. And also, if you go to our webpage, which I think you can find a lot of things, you will see that we really stick with the Green Planica project. And that's why we also have a green button, we have a green team, and we have a lot of green initiatives here. So, Gašper said they had like 100 actions. Based on their knowledge, we kind of say like, okay, let's shrink that a bit. And we said like, we have 5 important areas and we have 20 measures in which we will really stick on and we will do our best. As climate partner said, mobility is really important. So in our 5 areas is mobility. Then we said like a waste management or like waste and environment. Food and drinks, because we realize that big sporting events are there is a huge amount of food and drinks happening, not always sustainable, but we are really taking care on the food and drinks. We even measure the plate waste after, some events, so that we have exact numbers, how much plate waste stayed after each event. So we are doing that on 3 sectors, with the athletes, with the staff, and also here in the VIP tent. So watch out, to eat everything today. Social responsibility and communication. Big events are having a huge impact. They can communicate. You see in the media now, we are all over. Maybe some things are good, some things are bad, but big events do that, and I think that's a huge thing. If you do a good sustainable project, you can really spread it in the media, and we are doing that, but it's sometimes, you're successful, sometimes you're not. And of course, in the end, like Francie at the start, and Maja said, like, we want to give something to the legacy. Legacy of events is really important because, like Gašper said, they gave us knowledge, so we want to also continue that. And together with Umanotere and other partners, and of course, other sporting events and stakeholders here, I can see you're from municipalities, events, NGOs, that's something we need to strive together if we want to succeed something. Just to continue, in the webpage you will find five sectors. You will find 6 projects which I'll present today. And these 6 projects is something what we are really doing and we are really sticking on, and they're working really well. We started with a sustainable action plan, and I think every organization of event needs to have an action plan which you just follow during, like, of course, before the event and also during the event and then also after the event. So action plan. Then, like Gašper said, we adapt this also from the previous championship, and we say, like, let's just not communicate only what you can do sustainable at the events, but do it in your everyday. Like, my sustainable day is something that is really important, so that you stick with not only, I'm at the event and now I'll be sustainable. No, do it every day, from the recycling, from the avoiding waste, etc., etc. And these are few of the notes when we put it, like social responsibility, waste, volunteering, So if you go to the webpage, you will find even more of this. Then we started with the mobility, and I want to point out here, that we were really pushing that we make a strong connection and the partnership with the Slovenian railway. We did it, we really advise, and we bring a lot of people here by buses, by shuttles, and they even walk from the Rateče, that's another issue which this valley has, and we were really trying to say people, look, cars, if you come by car, put, be more people in the car, so carpooling, be responsible also in that. So that was a lot of communication, and we are also seeing some of the results even now, happening. Something what was said at the start, and I believe that you just came here and you didn't notice this, but I'm sure that you will go around the area, around the competition places, you will see the green button. Looks like this, and it's really important. So we put a bit, so when you push the green button, you commit that you will be sustainable in this valley, that you will be green. So we put a pressure on us, because we are the ones causing the problems. We did that for the spectators, we did that for the athletes, and even the president pushed the button, to commit herself, to be sustainable. You will find it around the area. There is in the press center, and it's also in the athletes catering place, that all the athletes are also aware that they need to support this project. If I go to the direct things which usually event organizers are dealing with, so we have reusable cups, so it's the deposit system. So you basically bring back the cup, we are not using plastic for one-time use, and that was really our goal. You will definitely still find, but this event is a great example. Now we are here. There is everything in glass. That we're really trying to to do that throughout the event. Biodegradable cups also, we were also thinking about that, to not have a plastic on each sectors, not only for the spectators, but also for the athletes, for the staff, we are really doing that properly. And some good innovative actions, like together with Slopak, we did these backpacks. So it's sometimes hard to go on the stands, and collect all the waste. But with these backpacks, it's the real thing that they can throw the cans inside, and we help that the area is clean. And I think so far, okay, maybe there was not like 20,000 people here, but on the Saturday when there was like more than 8,000 people, the area was still really clean, and I think that's really important to do that. Athletes, teams, really, huge amount of waste is happening there. There is wax, there is, trash they're doing. So we didn't forget, we give them 8 advices, how to be more sustainable and how to help us, from the throwing ski wax into the right bags, to recycle, to unplug, some devices they're having, to lower the temperature. This is not really going well, but we are really telling them every day, please help us, because that's important too. You're an important partner too in this project. We even put the stickers on the each doors of the containers, and there is 300 of those containers to organize this event. Another really important thing, and we did that before with the measures, in the staff area, in the athletes catering, and also in the VIP, we are really measuring the plate waste. So with that data, we can see exactly which food stays, and then we can later on, advise the catering companies which food to avoid, to have less food waste in the end. And that's a really important factor, because that's another important sustainable factor. We did all the signs, we did all the different, this is some practical advices which all the organizers usually are asking, and I think it's really important that you give them enough instructions and also kind of support them all the time. We need to support the others, and help them, because usually that's the right direction. And now some fun projects, I will do that in few minutes. We have sustainable bikes. People come and they can heat their own water and cook their own tea, which is a great activation, and people really like it. We already cooked more than 1,000 teas for, especially for the winter events. And you can find below the Stora Enso pavilion, it's this, and you can come and you can cook your own tea later. Then I have to mention, I have my friends here from Eco School. Eco School project was really something what we were doing 3 months. So we asked the kids to do the challenge, and we call it How to Become an Environmentally Friendly Fan. So the 22 primary and secondary school, they were doing that for 3 months. We got a great products, a great really innovative things from the kids, and it's so nice that, that they tell us, what to do, and then we can also incorporate that in our thinking later on. They will even get, and this is something, but I'm really proud too, the sustainable cup. Like, they're the winners also for the good cause for the environment. So today at 1:30 on the big stand in the fun arena, this will be handed out, to the kids who were doing a really good, for the winning, team, who were doing a really good job. Another local project, it was said you have to communicate with the local community. Maybe on some things there was a parking places we didn't do like this the best, but other things like you will not see this, but these sculptures were made from the waste. So they put the waste from the local hotel company, they put it into these structures which are in the athletes area, and they produce an art from the waste. And this is a local project. Local hotel business and local school did this, and we are really proud also for the kids, to doing that. We even went to the school and take them on Monday together with Cene Preuc, who is a sustainability ambassador, and kids just love it, when they're here. Today, after the round table, another really good project is we did a book, or we make it together, which is about the Vita, the mascot of the tournament, teaching kids about the sustainability. So the whole book is not just the fairy tale, but it's really nice advices how to be sustainable, and I think that's another success story. We even did some activations already in the standing with the Vita, and that was really important. And now the communication. I said the big events have the power of communication. I would really like to thank Cene, to help us here. We have a green team, green volunteers, but Cene is the one who is like putting also some actions together. And maybe at this point, I would like to ask to roll the short movie, 30 seconds, just to see what we are doing with Cene also in Planica. Can we put the movie?
O trajnosti pa ena glavnih razlik, ki lahko naredimo naša mobilnost. Se pravi, kako se premaknemo od doma v Planico, pa pol nazaj domov. In v samo vstopencu itak že všteta železniška vozovnica, pa pol še avtobus do Planice. Če pa že gremo z lastnim prevozom, pa gledamo, da bo čim več sedežev zasedenih v tistem avtomobilu. Nič, Vita, mene avtobus po moje že čaka, ti imaš pa srečo, se ni pa kar malo foš, greš pa lahko po luft. Se vidva doma?
So yeah, we did like 4 of these videos. One was with the waste management, one was with mobility, one was with the green button, and the last one is also to drink from the, not from the plastic, but drink for the glass bottles, and that's also really important thing. So all these are rolling on the Instagram, TikToks, and we're really trying to also promote our actions. Talking about the real deal, we're also getting the data for the final report with a climate partner who is also partner in this project. So in the end, I cannot, as Gašper now did, I cannot give you the exact numbers, but we are measuring that, and we are. There is a lot of Excel tables, which have to be fulfilled with the data, and in the end, we will also get the report, and we will also proudly share it, and also take care of some offset, which is really important also to do after the events. In the end, I would like to really thank the green team, especially Ivo Tomc, who is really helping me a lot, and the whole team of the volunteers, Maja Zalaznik, Gašper, Pavli. It's a big process, so I also advise you that whenever you're doing these events, have a strong green team with the experiences that you can make it happen. I didn't believe everything, but in the end, I think we did a great job, and we are still trying. It's not finished yet, so it's a process. We are a bit tired, but I think with this kind of events, so I would like to also thank Umanotere. It's even easier then, because you're all coming and a bit support us, in these sections, And for the end, Vita and me thanks you for this today, and have a great day. Enjoy the competitions, and if there's any questions, I can do it during the break or whatever. Thank you.
Thank you, Miha, for sharing with us on how to tackle sustainability at such a big event. I definitely invite everybody to watch out on what was pointed during his presentation when you walk around the venue today. To conclude the first part, maybe just let me highlight what follows from the presentations we've heard. Namely, organizing a sustainable event is not an endpoint. It is rather a never-ending process of continuous improvement which supports the transition to a low-carbon and more sustainable society. There is no more time to procrastinate. We are faced with an urgency. More sustainable events must become a default norm, and this is what is expected from organizers as well.
But this event would definitely not happen, not today, and not the 12 days of the championship, if there wouldn't be a special organization called FIS. And Jenny here is a representative of the communication side of FIS organization. Jenny, thank you for coming, and thank you for supporting us. Did we fulfill your trust up till now, speaking about the whole championship, because FIS really trusted us to organize this really, really important event? Championship does not happen every day. Please.
I would say in terms of sustainability, you have exceeded our expectations with Green Planica. It's really amazing. It's a top to bottom. And I think what's very important is it's focused on educating the spectators. And even if just 2% of the spectators here take home any kind of lesson, that's a huge number that then they take that home. So this is a huge opportunity just to find as many people as possible to give the message of sustainability and even just make small changes in their daily lives. So it really has exceeded, and it's on every level of the organization.
Thank you very much. This is really, so we really appreciate, because majority of the talks today in media, especially in Slovenia, is only about the tickets and the number of spectators. But as long as we have one spectator more being aware of sustainability, I think we have all achieved the true goals we want to achieve, right? Jenny Wiedeke, you have been also contributing a lot to the sustainability from the ground, as we say, and it was the manifesto which you've also contributed to and signed as FIS, as one of the world-leading sports organizations. How can FIS say that you are already implementing parts of this manifesto?
Well, I think for, like everybody else, it's very much a step-by-step process. You can't flip the switch overnight. We've signed the UN Sports for Climate Action Framework, and that has enabled us to make the pledge to reduce our carbon footprint by 50% by 2040. So when you make that pledge, then you have to quickly spring into action. In the immediate, we have a rainforest initiative where, if you will, until we can start to reduce our carbon footprint with all of our organizers, we are essentially making ourselves climate positive by investing in rainforests. So that's also been very, very positive. But ultimately, our goal is going to be to educate, measure with our organizers, educate, and then ultimately reduce, because we are committed not just to offsetting, but also to reducing our impact on the environment. So eventually that number that we're offsetting shrinks, and we are meeting that pledge.
So when you give now the green card to the organizers, how do you then communicate first to them what you really expect in accordance with the manifesto and the green and the sustainability parts and standards actually of organization of such events? Do you have any sort of standardized approach to it already?
The beauty of events is no one event is like another, so you really shouldn't take a standardized approach. And I think what's great is a transfer of knowledge, in that we have some organizations that are very strong sustainably, and I think here Green Planica will definitely be a best practice that we can point to organizers and say, even if you take one or two aspects from Green Planica, then run with it. There are different size organizations, different scopes. This is 2 weeks. Sometimes we have one-day events. So it's not a one-size-fits-all, and you just have to be ready to have as many tools and resources available for the people of all shapes, sizes, everything.
Thank you. Stefan Krauß is the Vice President of the Winter Sports, Infront Sports and Media. And I think that the slogan, actually the motto of the Infront is, we shape the future of sports together, right? So how do we do that together, not only here in Planica, but together with you, Infront, because Infront is really one of supporters, sponsors, and at the same time media player, one of the toppest in the world, we can say. So your observation and your evaluation of what we do within the sports events is one of the crucial messages also to organizers, but not only that, also to the spectators.
Well, thanks for having me. My role in this round table is not the easiest. Here in Planica, you need to know we are in charge of the entire TV production. We are in charge of all the media operations, in charge of the marketing sales and the marketing implementation. So all in all, 270 people working day and night. Not only here, but also at home in the offices. So all our equipment need to be installed, delivered, and again taken away. This has an environmental impact, which is a huge one. So we try as Infront and service provider to somehow fit into the interest of the LOC and the manifesto of the FIS best possible. But there is moments where we say in Germany, the cat bites his own tail, because everything needs to be delivered. We have a budget. We need to try to reach our target. So you cannot always do the best in the interest of a green championship, but you need to somehow try to find a way in between. So I have a daughter. I hopefully get Opa in a few months, years, and my personal wish is that the kids of my daughter will have the same experience of winter sport that I've had. And this year is a showcase. Planica is a showcase of what every involved party can contribute to this future. And if we want to have winter sport as it is in our memories and as we experience right now, it is clear that we have to take steps. You saw some already, and here I would like to mention the title sponsor of this World Championships, Stora Enso. You can visit the pavilion. We try to find sponsors, to cooperate with sponsors that contribute not only with a huge financial contribution, but also with measures to be taken to reduce the environmental impact of these huge events.
But we all are actually learning by doing. The sustainability way as a marathon. We've heard presentations today, but as you both have now exposed, is step by step, is a little thing coming to bigger things. And I think the spectators are really already feeling that, right? So how do you observe, because you are in most of the events actually present, how spectators are becoming, I think, also more and more demanding towards sustainability? Is that true or not?
It's a hope.
Okay.
It's definitely a hope. I think we cannot just say, okay, the spectators understand and behave and will take the measures because they learned a lot. It's a hope. I think the most important message to be given is everything starts with yourself. So always each one of us, each individual has the chance to contribute, and to contribute by being a positive example. And I would like to say something in Bavarian because it's my home country. It's just 2 hours away. But in my hometown, the farmers always say, if a lot of cows shit on the same place, in the end the shit is a big, huge mountain. So it sounds a little bit rough, but if you and I and Jenny does something positive every day, it helps. And if we convince the other 3 over there, it helps a bit more. And I think this is the message to be given.
And I think we are now addressing the public who does really that every day, day by day, encouraging people around us to be more and more aware and also educated, as you've exposed before. And since you have been mentioning Stora Enso, I think that here is really a great synergy among 3 of you coming from, I would say, a big sports world, but at the same time supporting us here in Slovenia, in Planica, and Stora Enso is not only a sponsor, it's a partner in the dialogue of sustainability of events, and especially events which take place in nature, which we all love and we would like to keep as it is. Johanna, thank you for supporting all the activities and showing us many activities we could never think about maybe if there wouldn't be Stora Enso. So shall we ask the audience if they've already saw your pavilion down here? Not yet. You will do that afterwards. And you will definitely touch green trees we have put there in the pavilion together with the Stora Enso representatives. Johanna, the microphone is yours, and I know that you will address us in the way as Stora Enso not only speaks about, but does, which means that you implement. Please.
Thank you. And my name is Johanna Pirinen. I'm heading sustainability in one of our Stora Enso divisions. And we always say that Stora Enso really has a sustainability as a strategy. So that's what we do. And we are now 5th time actually involved. So as you say that this is marathon, so we keep also learning each time. And we are committed to be the sponsor so that we can help the event to be more sustainable and showcase what are the solutions of the future. So here, I was really impressed by the earlier talks this morning. And I'm coming back to waste hierarchy. So avoid, reuse, and then recycle at the end. So here you have great examples already, like the podiums and those gates. They are 3rd time in use. They were already in use in Seefeld and in Oberstdorf, and now here. So really reusing, nothing going waste, it's reused. Same with the pavilion that we have, it's going to be reused also. And then earlier it was talked about catering and how much we can make a difference with really securing that there is no huge piles of plastic waste, but actually even the kind of single-use paper cups will be recycled into fiber. Fiber can be used 7 times. So these are all the renewable materials that we are offering, and I think it's a perfect fit because we are fighting climate change, and it's so super important to all of us here.
Maybe also to add, shall we ask a question? Do you know on what material you right now sit? Anyone guessing? And how it was made, how it was produced? Oh, my students would know, come on.
Maybe I can share some light.
Yes.
And especially downstairs, you can actually see also Stora Enso product, one loop printed furniture. So biocomposite that can be 3 printed into furniture. And the best part that I think, circularity in action. So if that furniture is no longer serving the latest design thinking, you can actually take the material and scratch it down and 3D print it again. So really creating these circular solutions.
I know that you are very experienced and that you take care about not only waste management, packages, you know, and all that. Can you share some of the advices maybe to the organizers, because here are also the representatives of the local communities, lots of events are going on, and you are very experienced in that, so maybe some hints?
And I think this morning has been already a good hint, so I always, and it applies to everything, not only events, it also applies to my daily work guiding our mills. So it's to think holistically, think the whole thing and see all the little incremental improvements that you can do and then the big jumps. So in an event organization, the mobility, how is this event achievable? How will people come? The catering, what are we offering? On what are we offering it? Is it renewable material that can be either reused or recycled? And all of these, and the education element, I've been so appreciating because we need to spread the message. And it's finally kind of snowballing, I have to say. So hopefully there is to be snowballing in the future too. But very much because the whole world needs to act. We have heard this morning the sense of urgency, and we are here to provide the climate solutions because the world needs them.
And each of us can contribute, right? And now again to the ladies, men, excuse me. Maša Klemenčič is coming from the Slovenia Touristic Organization. You know Green Slovenia, you know now Green Planica, and thankful to whatever we can say up there that we have snow, and we are not so, I would say, one of the rarest to really have snow, right, around us, which is great. But at the same time, we need to keep this white Planica green in all ways of thinking about the green in Slovenia. But there are some gaps still, right, between green strategy of Slovenia and green events. How is Slovenian Touristic Organization addressing that?
Yes, of course. Also, the analysis of our previous strategy has shown that this gap is getting quite big. So we are aware of this and we are trying to address it in many different areas. Now, of course, the Slovenian Tourism Board was up until now, first and foremost, the agency for the promotion of Slovenia abroad. But the general trend in the world is that these promotion national agencies are becoming more and more developmental, which is the only right thing, because you cannot keep inviting more people to Slovenia and not do anything about the management of these flows. So Slovenia, as you know, positions itself as a green active country, and sports events are a great way to communicate that even further. This is why this area is of extreme importance to us, and this is why we have defined the years 2022 and 2023. In these years, we have defined as our main communication theme sports and active and outdoor tourism. So we are trying to partner with these bigger events and to give with events that are taking care of sustainability, that are implementing this fil rouge. Also, because we know that this is good for the image of Slovenia abroad, but also for it makes it easier for us to give this message to our visitors, and it then reflects on the other offer of Slovenia. Because if we make, for example, we are often partners in cycling events, for example, with the Tour of Slovenia, and in this way we can communicate that Slovenia is a good cycling destination. And what is more, we can then develop more and more green products, such as in the frame of the Green Scheme of Slovenian Tourism, which is our national program for the development of sustainable tourism. We have then, for example, developed together with the consortium Slovenia Green, the Slovenia Green Routes, which offer really a sustainable experience to any guests who would like to come to Slovenia and would like to experience Slovenia in a sustainable way. We can tell them these are the routes that can connect, only green destinations that are certified as green businesses that are certified as green. So I think it has these events can have really large effect. And we also have other levers at the Slovenian Tourist Board, also financial levers. And here I would like to stress one action that we do every year. Last year, for example, we gave 600,000 euros for organization of different events, different sporting events, apart from European and World Championships. And in this, when we publish this public call, we also we give in the criteria. We also always write in the criteria that the events that pay special attention to sustainability can get more funds and more financing. And I think these financial levers are among the most influential ones for event organizers. And then,
Maša, would you say, one side is, of course, financial stimuli, which we all need, of course. If you want to do something, we always say, well, sustainability costs at the end too, right? But how much more we can do, not just with the money, but with our actions and, I would say, wise thinking ahead. That's another added value which we can all co-create. And for this championship, we have prepared an action plan with 56 goals to be achieved, and you have seen 5 areas: mobility, waste, and so on, even heritage, actually, legacy, and so on. So do you think that this could help to somehow narrowing the gap between the green strategy of Slovenia and the green events, which we would all like to have here?
Yes, of course it could help, because one of our jobs is, of course, communication. And I think you can communicate much more effectively if you say, last year we had these and these big events, and they all took such action, they all took such promises, they carried out these action plans. And you can, if you have an action plan, you do the analysis and you can always show results. And I think by communicating these results, showing what can be done year after year after year, you can change behavior. I think it should be quite a longer process. But, usually it takes more time to change behaviors. We were just talking about this during the pause. But I think in terms of really changing small habitudes, it's a great way to do something.
It goes from local to national and national to local. And I know that Stefan would like to add something. Please.
Yes, in addition to what we've heard right now, and I mentioned it already, we as a service provider, we have a strong environmental impact. We cannot avoid it. Otherwise, these championships wouldn't happen. So the idea we have created, and we will implement it in the 2025 World Championship editions, is to work with a so-called either Green Champions Club or ESG Club. And this means that we build up a partner-sponsor category where a portion of what they are paying goes into a fund. We will have a steering committee out of the region, FIS, us, and the commercial partner. And after the World Championship, the steering committee decides to reinvest the funds into measures that at least balance the environmental impact that we have had because of what need to be done at its big events. So because not everyone is a fan of big events, because of this environmental impact, we try to create arguments, and not only arguments, but also measures by doing so. And I'm really convinced that this will be a next step into the direction we want to go, and we have to go.
This is how we will all create new standards, actually, for kickoffs of such events, and again, creating the synergy among the partners to support that. Gorazd, I'm sure that majority of the people here know you, Toleranza, Marketing, and Conventa. So what do you actually do?
Well, I'm organizing events almost 3 decades, unfortunately. So that's my story. So
unfortunately.
or luckily, But basically, what I believe is that we are many times behaving like turkeys voting for Christmas, to start with. And of course, the question is always why we are organizing events or why we are doing certain things. And I will answer to Stefan why I'm doing what I'm doing, why this matters to me. I was born in summer of '69. That was the last year when the world was in balance. I'm repeating this to all my partners and to everybody working with me. So almost all my life, we are using more resources than we should use. So my children, because we are a family-run business, will come to me, Gorazd, what did you do in your whole life, actually? What is your legacy? What will you leave to us in our agency? So this is my motto, and I believe also everybody should ask the same question. When we start to organize something, why we would like to organize more responsible events, not green events, because I hate that word. This is a buzzword we are using just like that. We can only organize more responsible events towards environment, towards social environment, name it. So this is where we come to this problem of obsession with growth. This is what I see also in our business is the biggest issue. For example, here in Planica, we are obsessed with growth. There is not enough spectators. We are reading every single day in Slovenian newspapers. But actually, if I joke a little bit, this event will be much better because there is less spectators. More on TV, less on the spot. This is a joke, of course. The organizers would not agree with me. But basically, another provocation for you is, do anybody in Slovenia outside of this bubble knows about your company? I Googled you. So I'm impressed. Big kudos to you and to your company. But if you ask average Slovenian, what is your company doing? And this is the positive approach, which is maybe missing also in this communication, in the narrative we are using in line with big events. And this is the answer to the question, actually. Yeah.
thank you very much, because a lot is about the communication. We can learn from all of you, but we can also learn again and again when the situation changes and we need to think how to present the real data, the real facts. And sometimes it's about emotions, and sports is about emotions. Spectators are full of emotions, and this is what we need then to balance in a way to show what is really the fact, and on the other hand, what do we feel, what do we percept. And maybe in sustainability is the same case, right? Because we percept, but at the same time, we need more and more real facts, like you said, real, responsive, and responsible events, which I'm sure you are building on and on from the local basis forward. And also, Umanotere, Jonas, you are here together. You actually gathered us here as an NGO, and we know that you are trying to do your best to show good examples, to show whatever community can actually add to the sustainability challenges we all have. But what would be your advice right now? Lots of local organizers are here, people from municipalities, people from NGOs, even our foreign guests. Where to start, how to begin, and have this sustainable, I would say, as Gorazd nicely said, realistic on one side, but on the other hand, regenerative also goals for the future.
Yes, thank you, Maja, and also welcome from my side. I've been in touch with you for a long time now. Yes, you're absolutely right. We're an organization that tries to promote the positive, give good examples. However, because we have a round table here, I think it would be boring if I don't now take the position and highlight the environmental and climate crisis we're in. For that, we need action, not words. So when I use the metaphor that was used before of a journey, I completely agree. We are on a journey, but we have to accelerate the speed. The speed is way, way, way too slow. For that, I think I also agree that we need individuals to act, but we have to realize that different individuals have different power. Of course, an organizer of an event has much more power to make things green than a visitor of an event. A politician has much more power, much more leverage. So from my perspective, I think what I want to highlight is that we need also the systemic solutions. Systemic solutions being, for example, economic incentives, as Maša mentioned. If you give out money, and many big events are publicly co-financed, tie these economic subsidies to hard conditions. Not only reward the best performing, but make it a standard. We don't go below this standard. And of course, with a focus on transport, on food, on energy, the big impact categories. Then I think what's at the local level, because none of us is basically organizing huge events, or very few are organizing huge events. I think it's very important to focus on the collaboration with the local community. And that doesn't only mean the municipality. That actually means everybody who is involved, who has a stake. I think also Planica learned a hard lesson. I think many of us read it in the media that there were some issues with the parking spots that were contested on areas where some of the locals didn't really like it. So I think for this, it's really early on very important to start the dialogue, because then you can find solutions together. And yes, where to start? I think start with action. We had two examples now where the planning started much earlier, setting up a committee, a commitment, an action plan, and so on. But we have all these studies, we have all these guidance books. So we know transport, food, energy are the big issues. So don't waste too much time in the beginning with setting up a plan, setting up a committee, and so on. If it's a small event, act. Inform yourself what is already out there, and immediately roll up the sleeves and get going. Yes, that is maybe my main
And
point
this is a great intro to the questions which you can now raise. And Jonas said, start with the action. And I'm sure that you are here people who have done many actions for better sustainability or for changes towards awareness, either in education, either in real events, either wherever you work. So please go ahead with whatever you think it's valuable today to share among us, and especially to ask our distinguished guests here. I think all the experts are rarely sitting together in so many roles as you are today here. And this knowledge is also something what can contribute as a legacy to the championship of Planica. So please, ladies and gentlemen, the floor is yours. Who will be the bravest? Well, huh? Gaia? Okay, Gaia would like to be helpful with the mic, right? Right. Well, if there are no questions, but think about them, because really the floor is yours, and we are here open to whatever you would like to ask. Maybe Jenny, with all your expertise and FIS concerns also about the white winters, because the climate changes are here, and we are all aware of them. So how now it goes with the strategy of giving the organizers, I would say, open hands on one side, but also different scenarios which might have been prepared for different climate circumstances. I think that's quite a challenging for organization as yours.
Yeah, I think there's one major misconception, and that's that climate change means no snow. It means completely unpredictable conditions, and that's the biggest challenge for FIS and its organizers. You can even see it here. The first week we had spring temperatures, and now we're back to winter. On the west coast of America, they had major drought, and now they have record amounts of snow. So this makes it extremely challenging for any organizer, because it's not that you can say, okay, this region now has no snow. It can be meters and meters. It can be extreme storm situations, extreme wind in the case of ski jumping, for example. So it makes it really difficult for organizers to prepare for what will come in any given season and even now any given week. So that for us is the biggest challenge of climate change. But I know in the media, when it's the white stripe going down the mountain, that's when the phone rings the most for us.
And Stefan, how is Infront focusing on this and trying to find solutions also? Because you are quite sort of sometimes in the weird circumstances to cover the events, right?
Well,
but I know that you are top professionals. I know that you always find solution.
Not always, but we try to do our best. But here we are dependent to decisions taken by the international federations or associations, and then we try to react. So because we are a service provider, this means you always have to react. And within your reaction, you have to take in mind, as said, your budgets, clear, and also the best possible solution with view to sustainability, with view to the environmental impact, and with view to the legacy for the future. And this is what we try to do. I wouldn't say we managed to do so, but we try to do so. We have implemented the philosophy in our agency now. We do the ESG report. We do the teaching with our staff. And we have, as already said, more and more partners. Here's Tora, Enzo, but also others that understand and support the needs and the vision in there. And this makes me happy, honestly, because skiing, winter sport, the essential basic is the nature. It's the sceneries out there. It's the snow. And if we do not understand that we need to deliver, already the kids of my daughter won't have this experience anymore. And this would be the worst that can happen.
Thank you. And I think that we are also proud that we have Planica and that we have this glaciary valley. Stefan, is anything new about the numbers of the viewers on your side? Can you share some data maybe? Just to be aware of how many spectators around the world are with us.
I do not have the detailed analysis around the world. What I can tell you is the analysis of the core market, which is Germany. We have reached the first week until Sunday 38 million viewers in Germany. This is, for example, compared to the Alpine World Championships 2 weeks ago, 1.5 factor of the overall viewership. So it's quite a positive result. In the end, our expectation for the overall worldwide viewership of the Planica World Championship will be around 150, maybe more. And if we could reach 170 million viewers around the world, this would be a record figure. And especially for all my Slovenian friends, I press my thumbs that we reach this figure, because it would be an outstanding promotion also for the region, for Slovenia, the beautiness, the hospitality, and the green spirit here. And this is really something that I press my thumbs for, and I hope that we can achieve it.
Thank you. We keep the fingers crossed, right? Oh, there is a question, please.
Hello, my name is Damjana Golob-Lauric. I come from Association Without Barriers. I have a question related to the inclusion. Before, of course, I have to congratulate Umanotere, Green Planica, and all the experts which are gathered here today, and which have given us the opportunity to ask how to implement new things to our activities and organization of events. We are faced with aging society in Europe. Secondly, we are faced at least once in our lifetime with disability or exclusion related to impairity, either by age or anything else. So since I come from the association which takes care of impaired people and helps them to better involve their means and aims in everyday life, education, and also sports, I have a question for each of you. What is your suggestion how to implement this inclusion and access of space and activities to public events, regarding that we now have an European standard designed for all, and in which measure is this taken care of already at the international events which are organized in Europe, and how we should act when organizing one zone in Slovenia? Thank you.
And maybe I twist the question a little bit to start with. From a big multinational company perspective, inclusion is super important also. So we, for example, and it kind of lands on the social responsibility side, we run a big We Belong Here campaign within Stora Enso, so this is fully internal for the past few years, and it received so much good feedback, because there is a clear scientific evidence also that if people feel included, they deliver actually better. So this is purely the business perspective into things, but it really, really connects to the inclusiveness and really taking everyone on board, getting everyone heard and included. So a business perspective into it, but maybe we get an events perspective from somebody.
Yeah. Jenny, please, yes.
Yeah, I think this is a really good point. I think social sustainability, most of the time when we talk about sustainability, we think of the impact on the climate, but social sustainability is also equally important. In terms of inclusivity, FIS just this year has become the governing body also for all para sports. So we have para alpine, para cross country, and para snowboard. And for us, that has been a fabulous experience to have it all under one umbrella and to actually give this inclusivity a full 365 degree. We're learning from the para experience, and I think that they're learning from us. So that's been a very positive move for us.
Thank you for mentioning that, because Paralympics, and especially Olympics, for example, for disabled or for children or for whatever stakeholder, group of stakeholders who need more inclusion or even support to be included, I think it's crucial to do it through sports. And we are all here inclined to do sports, but also to believe that the sport is universal language. And where can we do better inclusion all around the world than through the sports, because we all understand what we talk in sports about, right, Gorazd? Am I right in my views about it?
Absolutely. I believe this part goes to what we understand as a regenerative effect of the events itself. This is beyond just measuring the carbon footprint. We learned how to do it together with climate partner, all of us. We know how to come to the figures at the end of the day, but now we are learning how to measure also the inclusivity, also the things which are beyond just that. For example, how many children will come to the ski clubs after the World Championship? How many people will stop staring to the screens, and going out to the beautiful nature we have, and so on and so on. So basically, this is a little bit my obsession now, so we are working on that, because we also need to measure that part of the events, which is really, really important. I will give you a simple example. At one of our biggest events, we figured out mathematically that we can just lower the carbon footprint up to 60%. That's the maximum we can achieve, because we have people from all over the world at the event. So basically, this is already an optimistic scenario. So basically, we need to understand also what we create beyond just carbon footprint.
Maybe Jonas, you would add on inclusion, because it's really, really important societal challenge, right?
I fully agree, but it's really not my
your area of
but
expertise.
If I may connect to what you said in the end. I think it's very important to take actions, not to focus on offsetting or anything. 60%, if we achieve that, is great. If we hear at the beginning of the championship the president of FIS saying FIS is climate positive, I have difficulties with that. I have to say that, because this is offsetting. If we see all the potential that there still is to reduce, I think messaging saying we are climate positive is more harmful than doing good. So I think there is so much potential here. When we talk about winter sports, I agree that there are changing conditions, but Planica at the end of the century will not be a good place any longer for cross-country skiing. We have moved one World Cup already from Maribor to Kranjska Gora because there's no snow anymore. The same is happening here, and we have clear statistics about that. That means we have an absolute urgency to act.
And I like the word actions. Maša, what will be the next action of STO?
Well, the next important action is going to be, we are going to start measuring the CO2 footprint on the national level, which we are not doing at the moment. What we are doing is we are developing the green scheme of Slovenian tourism since 2015. We currently have 62 destinations and over 200 tourism businesses that have an internationally recognized certificate, for which there are really harsh criteria for businesses and for destinations. And this is a project that we are trying to develop, and one of these developments is going to be the implementation of this national information system. It is going to be connected to the green scheme, but its first and foremost function is going to be to concretely measure data, especially from destinations, but events, especially big events, are part of destinations. I think we really should keep that in mind, that tourism is happening right now. Even an event like Planica brought thousands of overnight stays, of restaurant meals to Kranjska Gora, and all of this is going to impact Kranjska Gora as a destination. And I think when we talk about events, we should also talk about just the bigger picture and destinations.
So next very promising measure of STO. Jenny, what is your next action?
Enjoying the race, first of all. No, our next action is we have developed a survey for all of our organizers, and we want to find essentially the pain points that each has in terms of sustainability. And then based on those, we're going to try to create an educational if you will, best practices. Like I said, it's not one size fits all, so maybe one has problem with snowmaking, another has problem with spectator experience, another with transportation. And then our goal is to work with our organizers and just to reduce as much as possible. But it is a process, and I think the education is really critical. So people are making impactful changes and not just making the small changes that they see in the newspaper, that we can say, okay, what is the best snowmaking system out there, and work on that level.
Gorazd, what is your next action?
Eagerly waiting for the results of the carbon footprint of our last event. Manca informed me that it's a little bit better than it was last year, because we are measuring this year by year, and this brings us a tool actually so that we can really move on with real actions. Of course, the transportation was, for example, the biggest issue, but with just a different narrative, we changed the way how people travel to Slovenia. Our accessibility is not the best in the world, you know that very well, organizing this big event. But if we change the narrative, people will start to travel to Slovenia in a different way. So this is what we are doing now, and we are working on that we will have a kind of standard. Anyhow, like in, I don't know, if you buy a fridge, you know, you have that, it's A, B, C level of energy consumption. And sooner or later, we need to figure out something like that also in our industry. We need to communicate properly how good we are in different, you know.
And as someone mentioned before, it's holistic, right? What we need to do. Johanna, maybe your next action.
I'm going to invite all of you to visit storaenso.com, so you can cheat and find how it's written in your lanyard. And our latest annual report is out there, and it's been receiving so much the previous year's awards, so that it actually nearly works as a sustainability school book for any business. So hopefully it will provide a lot of inspiration and action, because that's what we are also doing.
Kana, thank you very much, because this was a great introduction to someone who will now I invite to the stage. And the two ladies are called Mojca and Anna, because this is something what we've already created, maybe as to inspire Stora Enso, not that only Stora Enso inspire us, but that we inspire you. And we say, join Vita to Heroin in Planica. So Mojca and Anna, the contributors and authors of these great booklets for the children, but also for the adults. Are you here? The authors? Yes, one applause to authors, please. And also let me say that each of you will get this booklet, not only to read it to your children, but also to read it yourself. And Mojca and Anna, thank you for being not only sustainable, but also really, really responsible to the event as we have created here. I'll step a bit aside so that the men will be still seen. Mojca, what inspired you to write about it? And how it happened, actually?
Thank you. First of all, it's a great pleasure to be here in Planica and to be part of this World Championship. By education, I'm an ecologist and also a doctor of environmental sciences. And I've been writing children's books for the past 7-8 years and writing since childhood. So I already have one book that is about saving the seas that was also a mobile app. And I was thinking about creating something about sustainability also for a winter time and winter events. So it was a long process, but a brief, sprint at the end to have a bilingual book, one in English and one in Slovenian language.
Yes, and thank you for creating this also internationally, because now I will have a pleasure to give each of our guests one international, so English version. Anna, why such nice shapes and colors and all this sort of kindness of Vita to the world?
Hello to everyone from my side too. So we wanted to create the character of Vita that is already existing in a mascot, Vita the Heron, that was created especially for these championships, these Nordic skiing championships that is happening here in Planica. So our little Vita have 4 little helpers for children that are helping explain the reader or show the reader how to act environmentally friendly, how to be sustainable through the year, and yeah, to show them that we can do this together, we can teach our reader children, and then they continue to do that.
And I think that the very important message is that we only can move things for better together. So thank you very much to the authors and co-creators. Really, I think that's the applause they achieve. But there is someone else here in this hall to whom I think we have to thank. First of all, on behalf of the Green Team, and secondly, on behalf of everyone who is here, bringing together us stakeholders from many, many aspects and areas and, I would say, knowledge. Tomaž Šušteršić is the heart of this championship. So, Tomaž, this applause is to you, to your team, to everyone who has contributed to understanding that Planica is and can be green. And on behalf of the Green Team and Strategic Council, I would really like to thank you to support us, even though when it was a bit of struggle to persuade how and in what way things are and will be important. But still, Tomaž and his team has really done everything in very, very sincere, very open, and especially in hard way, where we all had first in mind our athletes, sports, and dedication of all these synergies of positive values of sport, not only to the Green Planica, but to the whole world. And as Stefan said, we are present now in the world. Tomaž, please, the floor is yours.
Professor Maja Markovec, Professor Zalaznik now, thank you very much for this introduction. And on behalf of Organizing Committee Planica 2023, I would like to first of all to thank our team for preparing this really great event, which could not happen if the team, especially our core team, would not be so efficient, dedicated. I don't know, there are so many things that we could explain them, but really dedication is one of the most important, I always believe. Also, thanks to all the participants for today's conference. As Maja explained, one of our strategic goals was to prepare this event as sustainable as possible. Believe me, it's not always easy. On short term, it's also pretty expensive, I would say. But on long term, I believe this will always be capitalized with different or many other ways, and it's worth to prepare, worth to try, and worth to prepare such event in this sustainable way. Of course, also my big thank also to the author of this nice book and the illustrator who gave not only us a kind of a mirror how we should behave, but also will teach, with the help of our new mascot, Vita the Heron, also the, I would say, explanatory and
educational.
Yeah, to our kids, which are, of course, our successors in our intentions to prepare everything as the most sustainable way as it's possible. And also thanks to our today's speakers at this panel discussion who contributed to the, I believe, end success of the championships itself. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tomaž. And now the final word always goes to the guests. So Maša, one word you would like to share to us, one word, which we will remember.
Responsibility.
Jenny?
Action.
Stefan?
Dedication.
Tomaž?
Success.
Commitment.
Power.
And I would say sincerity. Sincerity.
respect,
and love.
And I truly hope that you have all felt a little bit of all this here in Planica, and that you will again when you come again, and that your kids and the kids of your kids will still feel when they will come in their time to see all this preserved as we all want. Thank you.